We're going to hear from some folks involved in a whole organisation called Aeon. It's an artistic endeavour at the start of it, but it's tied in with improving and encouraging better mental health and well-being, stimulation, association, community, basically. Just basically the same aims and purposes, I suppose, of lovelurgan in many ways. And we definitely will be linking together on many occasions and promoting each other, one would hope. I got a chance to talk to some of the people involved in that and to find out more about Aeon. So let me introduce the three people who were actually at this interview. Have a good listen. It's a really good story, really positive story, and it looks into the darkness and hopes to provide some light.
Eileen Jordan.
Ursula Leighton.
Sharon, Hackett.
So I find myself in the new build or relatively new building that's now open. It's been, 6-7 months. Aeon is the name above the door. You might be intrigued as to know what it is. Well, let's get a bit of an insight with some of the people who were involved in Aeon. And firstly, we're going to talk to Ursula Leighton, who was one of the coordinators of bringing about Aeon. Tell me the history of Aeon, what it's about, and why it's now ended up here in the main street in Lurgan.
Okay, thanks, Donagh. Aeon Community Arts was initially founded as a personal response to the pandemic. A small group of my friends and neighbours who are local teachers and work with children with autism and volunteer with the Scouts really saw a need for some sort of expressive outlet for disengagement, loneliness, anxiety and trauma. Our target group then was the young and old in our community. And we started off, our very first workshop was intergenerational, where we brought small groups of elderly and young together in the St Vincent de Paul building. At that time I was a volunteer for the food banks. Our first funding was through Cap Art and Lincoln Generations, and we're talking a few £100, but it got us going, and we were so grateful that somebody saw the potential in Aeon. The feedback and the impact was inspiring to those who were all involved, and we got involved in many murals and the friendship building and a real sort of sense of mutual understanding.
So let me bring you back to why it's called Aeon, because that's directly a Lurgan connection.
Okay, so Aeon stands for Arts, Education, Outreach and Nurture, and we basically chose the phrase Aeon. The word is a Gnostic term and it means sort of spirit of humanity and being able to kind of go on and on and on. So we are inspired by the local born artist A. Russell. We worked out of his birth home in 12 William Street, and while there was a real sense of his spirit and his spirit of community, cooperation and kindness. And we felt as the founders that through Aeon we could teach about A. Russell, we could show kindness to everyone in the community, and the spirit of A would go on through the children that we work with. So yeah, we've been doing that through having sort of A inspired painting sessions. We've put on A. Russell parades.
Well, that's definitely the direct connection. Aeon, A. Russell, which is lovely. It's Lurgan and Lurgan oriented. You're looking to a wider universe, a kinder universe, as it were. You moved from the William Street base. You're now in a different location, a bit more visible, as it were. That was a big step, wasn't it? Eileen?
Yeah, it was a very big step because the building itself was a wreck and we had no funding or no anything. So we took it upon ourselves to do the work ourselves in this building.
Yes.
We took the work and we slowly ourselves through hard graft, sweat and tears, laughter and fun, and we got it into a shape that we could use the first part of the building to start. And our first starting, I think, was art, wasn't it? Children's art.
Yes.
I think we started doing children's art to begin with. which then has developed into social meetings, into selling well-loved clothes, as we like to call them. Some of their designer clothes. We have soft chairs, seating arrangements. And what we found was that people coming in on a Saturday, anybody's welcome, but we found that people were actually sitting down just wanting to chat and wanting to talk about their troubles, or make connections, like, oh, you know such and such, oh, I know your mother, I know your auntie. And that has developed then into having tea rooms. There's been a lot of things that have developed gradually, organically. As we grow, it grows, and we grow because we're listening to what people want and need.
Well, one of those things that strike me that's very filled with opportunity for conversation, but there's a bit of activity with it, is when you have a listening session here. I think it's on Tuesdays and Fridays, where you have, I think it's Roy who comes in and he plays some music, and you talk about music.
That's talk a lot about music.
It's really fascinating to see the conversations around that.
Yeah.
I suppose one of the questions you asked me was, why did I start it in the first place? And I suppose we need to get back to why we are and what we represent and who we help. And again, it's very personal. It is all about promoting good mental health and well-being. Again, like Eileen said, it's about listening, about everybody sharing their own experiences. And I suppose the reason we chose here in the centre of Lurgan is because we want to give Lurgan a hug. We really do. Lurgan has been through so much trauma in the last number of years. Lurgan is known for high unemployment. It's one of the highest areas for social disadvantage. Suicide rates are frightening. Alarming drug-related deaths and crimes. The services for mental health is declining. It's declining. So we're filling that gap, and we work closely with PIPs here in Lurgan as well, so that if someone is in serious need of a listening ear, and you know, it's quite simple. It's just a place where you feel safe and you feel a sense of belonging, and all the volunteers here are working really hard on that. You know, the other thing is the Lurgan, I suppose, the appearance of Lurgan, there's been a lot of vacant shop premises, local businesses moving out to the town due to rising rates and running costs, and then we're competing with the beautiful Rushmere, you know. We want to bring people back to Lurgan. I was born in Lurgan, lived in Brownlow Terrace, went to the school where A. Russell went, and then I ended up teaching in it, Lurgan Model. I do love the town, and I love the people of the town. They're full of goodwill, they're full of kindness, they've been through a lot, and they're resilient. And it's through the good people of Lurgan that we're able to continue in here, because, like Eileen said, the place was a mess. We did all the work ourselves. We've got very little funding, and it's the people that have really helped to buy everything you see here. So that's why our door was open to everyone.
You're on a programme that's ostensibly called Love Lurgan. We're on exactly the same page. We're doing hopefully similar work, yourselves to a greater degree. Love Lurgan hopes to kind of promote the positivity, and yet at the core of it, neither of us are saying that this is a lovely place in its entirety. There is, for want of a better word, darkness here. There are problems to help people solve, and you're right at the core of doing that, and to be recognised from outside, but you recognise the work that you're doing yourselves. Can I move to the third person that's with us here? A basic simple question, and you mentioned the t-shirt that she's wearing. We'll refer to it first. First of all, the front of the t-shirt says "You matter," and if you turn around, Sharon, to the person behind me, you are amazing, beautiful and enough. Remember that. So you're putting it in front of people to think about themselves and who they are. But I want to ask you particularly, Sharon, you are someone who's joined in the community, as it were. Why would you have done that, and what do you get out of that joining?
Well, why I did was sort of by accident. I was shopping here in Lurgan, and I just happened to notice the front of the shop and things that was in the shop window, and just my curiosity got the better of me, and there was just all these wee different kinds of artwork and different kinds of wee pieces of jewellery and that. So I just popped inside and met Ursula, who was still trying to get the place up and running and that, and I bought something. I was one of her very first customers, purchased something, and then Ursula went on to explain what her
I suppose ethos, as it were.
yes, yeah, with the idea that she had wanted, and she had said that she was going to be doing like artwork, art therapy, things like that, kids clubs, yoga, all kinds of different things. So she told me about her Instagram page, and I had a look on there. And then I just kept popping in every time I was in Lurgan. Just kept coming into the shop, and I could see it getting bigger and better, and then all the activities that she was putting on for the people in the town. So yeah, I just
And you were able to engage in that and offer some support to that. What about in a personal sense? What were you getting from that?
well, I was taking my mind off my own problems, to be honest. I suffer with mental health issues, and coming in here and just being around a lot of positive people, and seeing the great work and Ursula and the rest of the guys, Eileen and other volunteers were doing. So me coming on board, I get to see people coming in. They're coming in on their own. They're telling me that they're feeling lonely or depressed, or they have special needs or whatever. So having a chat with them as well, and just feeling the same, that we're all in the same boat, you know. So
Connected.
yeah.
We really appreciate your openness in that, because it's not something that many people can talk about. So to be lauded that you can do that, and this is a safe space to some degree that you can actually do that.
Yeah.
Eileen, you became involved for what drew you to this whole project, other than maybe Ursula asking you? But
Stunning, Ursula. We have a friend in common, and she invited me up to meet Ursula because my background's art, and I've been running galleries for years, and I came up with the idea to help her do the William Street when she was still in William Street, to hang with, I think it was I hung the last exhibition, Dwyer's, and then we moved here, which it will develop into a more mature exhibition space eventually when we get more funding, and when the building gets pushed back. The building is a very long, narrow building, but there's also another outside building which is also garden, which goes right back. So it's a vast space, and it will lend itself eventually to a wall space that can be manoeuvred and moved whenever local artists. I'd like to show local artists from Lurgan, local artists who are still in Lurgan, working with subjects around the environment, Loch Ness, that kind of thing, to promote those sort of things. So that's why I'm here. But in the meantime, I'm doing a bit of cooking, I'm doing a bit of washing, I'm doing a bit of cleaning, I'm doing a bit of everything.
what do
and
you
I'm connected.
What do you get out of the experience itself, removing yourself from the administrative aspect of it?
No, the fun, the communication, the friendship with the people, the friendship with the staff, the laughs, the jokes. Sometimes it's not easy, you're hearing heartbreaking stories, but I mean, there's always fun and laughter. You come out of here feeling a sense of joy and achievement, and you've raised your ability in your mind.
And the vibration, as we talked about earlier,
the vibration
of yourself and others.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you come in feeling good, you leave feeling good, and that's what's so important in this kind of work. And you make other people happy. If you make other people laugh and you make other people smile, and you tell some sort of corny joke, or you can you understand them in a way, or you communicate, you know they laugh, and I know what they're on about, and they with me, and that they go out happy and I go out happy.
That to me it's encompassed in the phrase building community, and
Building
that's
community.
that's what we're talking about.
And we're building community because Lurgan badly needs it. It needs it so much with the young people, with the older people who now, you know, we talk about even things like Tesco's and places now, you can't even go up to a till. Everything's self-service, everything, you can't even talk to people. And that's awful sad, when one of the things that a lot of older people like doing is going shopping and talking to people.
That's the
They come in
excuse
here
for
a
doing
bit,
it. Yeah, absolutely.
they come in here and they talk.
We talk to the group organisation again, Ursula, without doubt, and when you're promoting things, you know it's the first point to call if you need to spread the word, as it were. Back to you in the short term, even though it's a long term answer we're looking, what are the moves forward for you from now? Where are you taking this to? And we hope to visit you more and more again in the ongoing campaign to lift that vibration of Lurgan.
Thanks, Donagh. That's lovely. It's people like yourself who see the sort of potential in what we can achieve, because we have achieved so much. I mean, Eileen and Sharon here again give up their time, and people are walking in and saying, "How can I help?" So I know there's a lot more people out there who can give their time, their skills, and their positive energy. So I suppose we've been going about 5 years, but really from we took this building on, we have gone from strength to strength. And Eileen's right. There's so much more we can achieve with kids club, drama groups. We have a lot of children and adults who volunteer, who are on the autism spectrum, who have mental health problems, who are going through rehab. So we have a place for volunteers as well as those who just walk in off the street. We have a dementia cafe every Friday. It's grown from strength to strength. It started off as a one-off fundraiser for Dementia UK, and we're now on to our 8th week. Isn't that right, Sharon? Yeah. And it's a need. People want it, and they keep coming back. Beautiful food and a lovely cup of tea.
Yeah.
And we now have live music. Again, volunteers who are musicians want to be involved. We offer art therapy. Again, this is a very personal thing for me because I went through a very difficult period, mentally and physically. So I do really want to help people get through sort of ill health and any form of trauma or bullying. We have a music cafe on a Tuesday that Sharon's involved in, and Roy Hollywood is our DJ. So we have sing-alongs, we have song requests. It's, again, music therapy is fantastic. We offer paint and sip sessions. Again, that's the fun side of Aeon, where groups of people get together, share a little drink, paint a picture, have a little fun gallery session, and go home very merry. And
With their painting.
with their painting. Again, thanks to Sharon and Eileen, the vintage clothing's really starting to take off. We have a lot of donated gifts for sale, some artwork, prints and jewellery. It's growing. Now, what we do hope in the future then, we have a fantastic outdoor space. We would love, with the hope of our Fit for Future application, that we can create an area where we can have an outdoor events. We can have a stage, tables, chairs, a little bit of food, somewhere, again, to lift everybody's spirits. We also are thinking about having maybe mini mural parties or an autism craft cafe. Again, this would be something personal to us. I work with a lot of children with autism, and it's to help those parents when they're having meltdowns. Come in here, we'll look after the kids. You have a cup of tea and chat to Eileen or Sharon, you know. We're now involved in the Going Places Museum project, and we're working with minority groups. We have a group of East Timorese that live behind us, and we're making friends with some individuals who have recently come to live in Lurgan. And again, it's a great way of making friends, us learn about their culture, And basically, yeah, I believe that our sort of the cross community, the Protestant Catholic thing, we've moved beyond that now, and it's now, you know, welcoming people from other cultures, and really that's where I hope that we can do some real lasting work.
Well, thank you, and indeed Eileen and Sharon for joining us, and here's to more good news coming out about Aeon. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you
Thank you,
so
Donagh.
much,
Thank you,
Donagh.
Donagh.